Hi guys, and welcome back to Self-Defense and Prepping. Today is the last day of the 5 basic needs, which is the 5 keys to hope. The last few videos have been a bit long, so I'm hoping to make this one a bit shorter. We can just get through it quickly, but this is obviously something that's very important in terms of prepping, because it's how you're mentally prepared is ultimately the most important thing. If you have the right mindset without having the correct gear, you can still survive. Whereas if you can have all the gear in the world, but if you don't have the correct mindset, you may use some of that gear to end up taking your own life. So let's talk about the 5 keys to hope. So we find ourselves in a very difficult situation at the moment with this COVID-19, and mainly from the economic fallout. And then from my perspective, the worst aspect of all of this has been the complete and utter descent into authoritarianism and government control. We thought we had these constitutional rights, but they just say, oh no, disaster regulation says that right is gone now. And without even changing the legislation, your rights are just gone. So this is the thing that really gets me down with this whole COVID-19 story, and the thing that really makes me very angry. But there are ways to fight getting angry and feeling hopeless, and that's what I want to talk about today. Thank you for watching, if you've watched from the beginning, guys. And please take this time to like and subscribe. That helps me get more viewers, and the more of us who are prepared, the stronger we are in terms of resisting totalitarian rule. So let's get to it. The first key to hope is that time will always pass. As bad as things are now, you just have to remember that bad times come and go. During World War II, it lasted 6 years. Whether you were Axis or Allies, at one time things seemed hopeless. If you were part of the Allies in 1942, say August or so, it looked like the Axis was about to win. They were advancing into the Caucasus. Rommel was moving into Egypt. It looked like the Axis was going to win, but 5 months, 6 months later, the whole thing turned around and the Allies became dominant. And even then, at the beginning of 1943, it was still a long time before the situation ended. So you just have to realize that these things take time. COVID sort of came out of nowhere, but it's not going to just disappear with the same speed that it arrived. So as bad as things are, no matter what regulations are getting to you, or how bad the economy is, and that, you have to realize that human beings live about, on average, unless you die prematurely, about 90 years or so. And in context, as bad as things have been, it's only been this bad since February, so that's about 2.5 months. You're already starting to see some of the government's control is slipping. They're under a lot of pressure. So hopefully things end positively. Moves us on to our second key. You just need to wait, have a plan, be patient, and don't just sit back and allow the government or the regulations or the situation as a whole just to dictate your life and how you respond to it. So whatever you do, you need to come and have a plan. Sit, like I said in the first episode, get a pen and a piece of paper and write down what you can do to take back power for yourself in your own situation. Whether it's something like here in South Africa, where at the stroke of a pen they banned alcohol, but we are protected by a constitutional court ruling which says we can grow marijuana in our own homes provided it's for personal use. Now that same ruling therefore applies to producing your own alcohol. As long as you don't sell it or give it to minors or anything, you're not breaking any laws, and you can brew in your own home for your own consumption. So even if you're not a big drinker, just doing that makes you feel like you're taking your power back. Like that, screw them. They're not going to make laws for me that I don't agree with. If they ban the sale of alcohol, I'll just make my own. Or if they ban the sale of certain types of clothing, which is ridiculous as it sounds, there are limitations to what clothes you can buy at the moment. Then knit your own clothes. Always have a plan. Always have a backup. Always have a way to get around whatever makes you unhappy, because they don't have the right to actually make you unhappy just to make themselves feel powerful. You need to take your power back, and how you take your power back is by having a plan. So sit down, write down your plan, whether it's to do more exercise so that you're physically stronger, so that you can fight the virus better, whether it's to do more exercise so that you just are, less unfit and you're more of a fit and healthy person. Whatever it takes, just take power back, and the best way to take power back is to have a plan. So that moves us on to our third key then, which is friends and family. We've seen in this COVID-19 pandemic just how quickly things we took for granted, like national things, nationalism and that, as much as this is a regional thing, we've seen how quickly the government, who's supposedly like a national government, can become a partisan government. They only care about their own people, and if you're not one of them, then they expect you to sacrifice, and they're not going to sacrifice anything. Well, I don't sacrifice, so I'm not going to worry about what's happening with the government. I'm just going to get my happiness from my friends and my family, speak to them on WhatsApp, especially my friends and that. Keep light-spirited. Don't let them get you down. If things are bad on Twitter, then switch off Twitter and just concentrate on spending quality time with your family and growing as a person. If the direct attack doesn't work, then you try the indirect attack. You flank them. So if you can't get what you need to out of ordinary life because of restrictions and because of the shit hits the fan, then you need to get the best. You need to fall back on your friends and family if you have, and if you don't have, well, you should try and make some, because it really is a lonely world out there. The government and the corporations and everything that supposedly was the important things, they didn't protect you, they don't care about you, you're just a pawn to them. So just look after your friends and family, get your happiness and your sociability and your enjoyment from them as much as you can. Well, we can't go out, we can't go to clubs, we can't party or go to festivals, so we might as well just use this time to grow our hearts, to grow together, because a strong family unit is much more formidable than a whole bunch of individuals out there who are feeling depressed. Guys who don't have friends and family, they're easy to control, whereas a strong family, like in South Africa you always hear the Rupert family, the Oppenheimer family, and even if you think about it in terms of like organized crime families, that when you're a strong family and you're all working together in one purpose and you're all united and you love each other, the bonds of blood are thicker than water, then you're much more formidable and you're much stronger in terms of what the government and what the authoritarians out there can control you. If you have a strong family with many family members and many friends, that goes a long way into taking back power and taking control away from the government, because they want everyone to be social distance. And social distancing isn't only about standing 2 meters away. They actually want you to sort of break with society, because when you're on your own is when you're at your most vulnerable. Think about it like a prisoner of war camp. If you're the only guy who's taken prisoner and there's no one around you, none of your comrades are taken prisoner, and the only people that you have contact with are your interrogators and your prison guards and that, it's going to be easy for them to break you. But if a whole unit surrenders or is surrounded or whatever and they're taken prisoner, the unit keeps the spirits up. You won't give information because your buddies are still there for you. So bear that in mind. People on their own are very vulnerable, so get your strength from your friends and family. Which brings us on to key number 4, take action. The biggest problem with all the shit hits the fan situation, especially for those of us who are not necessarily as prepared as we would like to be, is the feeling of helplessness. You're not only helpless against the virus to an extent, because unless you have like a N95 mask and proper PPE, like a bioweapon suit, you can get infected. And even then, even with PPE, there's still a way the virus can get you. So you feel like you don't have control. And then there's the government who loves that feeling, and they come and they take as much control as they can. So how do you take control? Well, you had a plan, but you also need to take action. What does that mean? Well, I mean, writing a plan on a piece of paper is great. And if you're not doing that, please do it right now. But you have to do something beyond just writing it down. So even if you have nothing, and you're feeling helpless, you're like, what can I do? I'm sitting here, the government's making all these rules, my business is going down, I can't prepare. even if you did something small like just buying some canned food, it's not going to change your life, but just taking action, feeling like, you know what, I'm taking control of my destiny. I'm not letting the government, I'm not letting the health officials, I'm not letting all these people in white coats dictate to me. I'm going to do something. I'm going to take action, even if you bake a cake or bake homemade bread, whatever it is, you know, carve a little stick spear for yourself. Do something that feels like you're taking action against all these restrictions on you, because that will help you maintain the hope and fortitude that you need to get through this difficult period. So whether you load ammunition or you know, do whatever it is, just take action today, right now, at the end of this video. Do something today that has made your life, made yourself in a more powerful position than you were yesterday. So if you don't have any canned food at home, you buy some canned food, you're in a better position than you were yesterday. Tomorrow you've got some canned food, and you just build on it from there. Every day, just take a little bit of action. If you do 10 push-ups, that's taking action. You're stronger than you were yesterday. You're more likely to be able to fight back, whether it's the virus, whether it's whoever it is you're fighting. Just take some action. Do something every day to make yourself feel powerful and to take power back to yourself, because that's where it belongs. Power to the people means taking power back to the people. You, one of the people, regardless of your ethnicity. Don't let them take your power away. Take action. Which brings us on to our fifth and final key. Have faith. This one's a little bit more contentious because, well, I know there are people who don't have any faith. I know some of them quite well. But that's, I don't mean you have to be religious. I'm not religious, although I am very spiritual. I have my own spiritual beliefs. But you need to be thinking about stuff beyond your everyday needs. You know, if your whole life revolves around how much money you have in your account and how much movement, you know, how much freedom do you have and how many times you can go out, if this is your whole life and then all of a sudden you're restricted, you're placed under basically house arrest, the economy is going to shit, your bank account is being depleted, there's nothing left for you. It's like your whole life is empty and completely pointless and meaningless, and you just spiral down into depression. So you need to have some form of spiritual or existential belief that goes beyond your everyday needs, that goes beyond the rat race and the corporate race, you know. You need to be able to survive for something more. So even if you don't have spiritual faith, if you have children or something, they need to be the thing that motivates you, that you know, that there's more to your life than just not having enough food or money right now. Because if your whole life revolves around things and possessions, and those possessions can easily be taken away from you, then it's like your whole life was pointless and you just spiral into depression. It's like you have no power. So when I talk about making a plan and taking action, you know, all of this is towards a greater end. So you need to have a greater goal than just daily survival. You know, you want to survive so that one day you can be, you know, you can grow as a person, or one day you have an ambition to do this. I remember hearing a thing about one of the Jewish guys in one of the camps during the Holocaust, and he studied which people survived and which people died. And the people who died, I'm not talking about the death camps, I'm talking more the concentration camps. The people who died were people who gave up hope, who didn't have anything to live for beyond the camp. So for them, their whole life was just, I'm in this camp, look at the wire, look at the lack of food, there's nothing beyond this, I might as well die, and they did. But people who could find something beyond the camps, they thought, you know what, as bad as it is, it might be 1943 and we can't see an end to it, but for some reason I believe it will end, and there's something for me at the outside. When I leave this camp, I want to survive, even if it's just to make sure it never happens again, or to take revenge. You know, revenge is an ancient and powerful urge, and if that's what it takes for you to transcend your daily struggles, no matter how hard they are, then you need to do it. So have faith and believe in something more than just an accumulation of things or lack of things. And guys, thank you for watching. Again, this is the last of the 5 basic needs videos. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and join me for future videos. They hopefully won't be as long because I won't have to do everything in sets of 5, but I'll definitely be making videos. They'll be out soon. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again. Bye bye for now.